Hello, welcome to the Augmentation of Man with Kent and Renee Miller, where we are bringing the future, and that's a future understanding. And
we're going to talk about how time is related to planetary alignments.
And so,
in other words, also known as somewhat astrology.
Yes, so we're going to talk about astrology and time and how that all relates to what's going on today.
Okay, we're going to try to connect the dots between astrological assignments, which affects all different things and taking place on the Earth within our own sphere and within our solar system.
And what creates the time-space continuum.
You have to,
as we understand.
Yeah, you're right. And this is very difficult putting this together in words that we can convey to you. The original language is much tougher.
The language that we're receiving
Right,
from our spiritual guidance.
Right, the language I'm receiving is much harder language. So for us to bring it down to a point that we can convey it to you it took the whole day.
Well, it starts out though that we have to understand it in the language that was presented to us. So they'll oftentimes use Greek and Latin root words and form new words, new compound words that we have to decipher. So we've become very familiar with the Greek and Latin root word dictionary.
It wasn't just that, it's the understanding of what they really mean, what they're trying to, what they're really trying to convey.
And their communication style is different than ours.
Yes.
So there is a real learning curve to deciphering these messages. And then they also throw in some universal words from time to time. So when we can't find a root word for it, we'll ask for a spelling. And if we still can't find it with a new spelling, then we ask them, is this a universal word or another language? And then we ask for the definition.
And we're talking about this goes along with perceived timeline. And we will talk about what time really is in this particular segment. Is there really time, or is it manufactured by humans for our own convenience? But anyhow,
or the way that we view time is different than what the universe, other beings
outside of our solar system.
Right. They view time completely different, and it's more related to physics and science than what the average person looks at time.
So, wide range of vibrational energy is constantly being released at a rapid rate within the cosmos itself. It's outside of time as we know time, traveling upon a neuroelectric network throughout the cosmos. A neuroelectric
It
network
works like our nervous system.
Yeah.
So it's within the atmosphere, in space, between planets, and it's a network that acts like our own nervous system.
If you've seen pictures of the brain and the electrical synapses between positions within the brain, it works a lot like our brain, or our brain works a lot like it. So the vibrational releases are breeding the events. We can say breeding, or are coming up to allowing these events to take place. And we're going to explain that a little bit, how that happens.
And it's all about the learning so that universal consciousness can be expanded.
Well, how about particles? How do particles play into this?
So these this vibrational energy that is born out of the universe, it travels on this network. It's an electron-based system. We're not going to get into that, but it travels on this network like our nerves, it's diffusing out throughout the universe. And that passing vibrational energy infuses into particles, other particles that are in space, including particles that coagulate together to form mass, like a sphere is a sphere of densified particles. Those particles are energy, so it's actually densified energy, and it has its own vibration because each particle is made up of vibration. A particular unique vibration makes that particle.
I want to interject here. All masses have vibration.
As this passing vibration, it comes in contact with other particles in the universe, it imbues its vibration on those particles, giving the particles that same vibrational character. And so that influences matter. So this energy that's born out of the universe is passing through the cosmos, and it is causing matter to behave a certain way.
Well, consequential energies will dictate the movement of essential corrections needed for events to take place
On this sphere.
Now,
That's
right, within our solar system.
Mhm.
So the movement is dictated by these particles.
And they call it insidiration.
Yeah, and that's an interesting word they call it, which is
insidi means to ambush. So these particles are being ambushed by the vibration and kind of taken over, and the behavior is being dictated by that vibration to some extent.
Yeah, and these events have to take, well, they need to take place because they're a learning process for humanity. Humanity is supposed to learn from them. Whether humanity will learn it.
And so the whole object of this is that this, you know, in the Bible, it talks about the word. This is a vibrational nomenclature that is born out of the universe, that is bringing instructions for behavior of particles, and all mass is made up of those particles. So it's influencing events, and these events are meant for us to observe in the observable universe and learn from. So we're learning about the behavior of matter, but we're also learning from the events that we are creating under the influence of this passing energy.
So the planets, there are various angles of the planets in relation to each other. And angles vary, and there's various types of angles. There's 90 degree, there's all different types of angles. There's squares.
When we're talking about astrology.
Yeah, and they use different terminology, and it sets up a vibrational field, and it interacts with the cosmos, vibrations coming in from the cosmos. So each sphere within our solar system mandates a behavioral aspect.
So each sphere in our solar system is imparting a certain behavior on that energy flow. And it has to do with what we would call time. So it opens up a time frame for certain events to possibly happen. Doesn't mean that they will happen or it'll be really strong. Sometimes it's strong, sometimes it's not so strong. And it is a global thing.
And we have a problem with the word time. We're trying to put the words in other than time, because when we get outside of our solar system, there's no such thing as time.
Mm-hmm.
The time is the human term. And when we've been so ingrained with the word time that we inject it everywhere, and it shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. And so this alignment of planets creates opportunities for events to happen during various planetary alignments, and it creates favorable times for certain events to happen. So doesn't mean that event will be that noticeable, but
Well,
it's creating favorable
right.
times for certain things to happen for our learning purposes.
Yeah, and these events aren't, this event's going to happen. These are not events set in stone. This is, and it's really hard to put in terms how we want to say, but it creates a possibilities of an event, not a specific event, but of an event to happen.
For specific learning.
Well, it
in
depends
our
on the
consciousness.
depends on the learning from the event, right?
Mhm.
So it's not specific, it is a generalized event, and the event takes place, and out of it comes a learning process.
Mhm. So this vibration sets up these events to play out in our particle world, which is what makes up our physical world, and it's for our enlightenment and for our growing and expanding consciousness. As we watch the observable universe, what we're watching playing out in our physical world is the material matter, the particle matter that is being influenced by vibration.
Yeah.
And that includes us too.
Right.
Our physical bodies are under that influence also.
What do we learn? We learn about vibration, what it really means, and through the observation of the vibrational influences that take place here on all matter,
Mhm.
that we gain a greater understanding of the observable universe, or the observable cosmos, and our behavior changes to reflect a new understanding of what we've learned about the cosmos.
Mhm. And so when we want to change behavior in a positive way, it's all about the teaching
It's
and
information.
learning,
Yeah, the more information you have, the more you will begin to change.
because you have a new understanding.
Yeah.
So within our soul, we take this one step deeper, and we're learning at the soul level the intricacies of that energy at a mathematical level. So as we are watching the movement of the particle universe take place, or the physical world, as events take place, we can chart mathematically the motion, the speed, the velocity, what have you, that make up the mathematics of that event. And so at the soul level, we're learning even deeper than what we are at our normal day-to-day observations.
Yeah, because we have stated in our past videos that mathematics is the language of the cosmos.
It's the language of God, the creator.
Yeah, right. So events follow what it looks like a linear line, which we call a timeline, which humans call a timeline, but is a record of events that have occurred in the past, but it's not exactly linear. It's more of a curve.
Mhm.
And we're not really on the correct timeline that we thought we were on. So,
Well, and it's not exactly linear because we have multiple events taking place at a given time.
yeah.
They describe it as more curvy linear, like we're,
Well, linear is not curvy.
well, we're moving
Yeah.
in a direction of enlightenment, or we're supposed to be moving in a direction.
Yeah, we've been on an alternate timeline
Mhm.
for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it's not been in line with the cosmos or universal.
That universal nomenclature,
Right.
vibration, the universal word.
We've been on a separate path
Yeah.
for a long, long time. Humanity, I'm talking about. And it's now time for the paths to merge together into the universal or cosmos pathway, and establish a higher learning and understanding. And we'll begin to understand or reinstate universal laws, which we have not
We haven't been
or
we haven't been under the governance of universal laws because of our drifting away from the original timeline that was set for our learning to occur. So that learning that was supposed to happen, that was being governed by the universe, we took a separate path, and that learning didn't occur. So now that we're stepping up into the next cycle, which is a higher learning, we have to do some catching up.
Yeah, we took a separate path because we know better. Humans know better.
And so there's this time adjustment that is going to occur to get us up. We're not going to be up to snuff. We're not going to be where we should have been, but it should be enough to get some people into this next cycle. And so this time adjustment they refer to as the bending of time. And when you bend time, there's an acceleration of events that happen. So if you can imagine, you're driving in a car and you're on a raceway, when you get to that curve where you're coming around the bend there is, even if you're going the same speed, it changes the timing. And so you have the time sped up, and it gets into physics.
Yeah,
but
it feels like it's speeded up, but you don't speed up around a curve.
You don't,
like time is sped
yeah,
up.
normally you would slow down around a curve, but when we're talking about an energy flow, it does quicken around a curve. And so what happens with this energy flow is you have a quickening of events. So you're having a more rapid succession of events happening to get us caught up in our learning process to a certain point where we can adapt as we go into this next higher learning cycle.
So wrapping this up, if hopefully you understood what we were trying to say. Again, it was difficult to put this in terms that can be explained.
We're not physicists, so,
no, so
it's hard because we have to
we
learn it first.
If we were physicists, they probably wouldn't understand that either, like we would. But time actually records all events of humanity that have occurred all since humanity came upon this plane. So relative to changing vibrational alignments of planets and the vibrational influence from the cosmos, we have a lot to learn.
Mm-hmm.
We're just at the very, very, very beginning.
And so when you get down to time doesn't exist in the universe. It exists here in a time-space continuum, and it is reflective of these planetary alignments in their own orbits, reflecting a vibrational influence to Earth, creating events that happen along a timeline that's recorded in some sort of a succession of events playing out. But outside of the Earth, there really is no such thing as time.
So when we're outside of this solar system or even this galaxy, and we're in the cosmos, when an event happens, you won't be using time to record that event. You'll be using a different type of mathematical analysis to record that event. It won't be called time, it'll be called another figure. So with that, I'd like to say thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us, and we hope we didn't overwhelm you.
They overwhelmed me.
And want to say peace be with you on your journey to enlightenment. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.